EGM Network.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Community Conversations. So glad you're at the other end of the dial so that you can say, I'm in the right spot, because Community Conversations is so informative in terms of what's going on in Indian River County. It is a conversation. It's not a news brief. It's not an advertisement. It is a way for us to share the things that we know as nonprofits within the community with folks. Particularly important now, radio is because, well, that was a great sentence. Back up. In the old days, maybe even 5 years ago, we had a lot of printed material, newspapers that came out daily. They are still being published, but more and more I hear that people either don't have time to spend their money in other ways. And so radio being in the car as we're driving around is a way to collect and share this information. So this week I have a new guest. Jessica Staudt is here from Safe Families. And this is a great organization that most people don't know about unless they need them. And if they're lucky, people tell them about the organization. So I'd like to share this information today with Jess, who reminds me that she's only been there for 3.5 months, so no hard questions. However, Jess, welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Well, you are certainly not a newcomer to Safe Families insofar as you worked with Healthy Start for years, and that's all about safety, helping individuals at the beginning of their parenting life. And as we all know, as parents, the journey gets more complicated as the children get older. So having an outlet called Safe Families really relates back to that prevention, that, in this case, community wraparound. So tell me, what attracted you to this job?
Well,
there was an opening?
There was an opening. But the main reason was that I was a foster kid. And my story, I had such a hard childhood coming up, and there is no reason for me to be sitting here with you today. If it wasn't for community, I would have had probably a very different outcome in my life.
I was going to say, if somebody put you among 5 other people and said, pick the foster child, you would be my last pick. Because whatever trauma you had as a foster kid, the disruption of your family is what I equate with foster children. And that's tough. And you're always smiling and level-headed. So obviously you had some help along the way.
I did. You know, they say one caring adult is what it takes. And I was surrounded by a village. The foster family I ended up with, they were Safe Families before Safe Families existed.
How awesome.
So I went to stay with Grandma Ross, who is everybody's grandma, and she was connected to the church and in the community. We lived in a really small town. So no matter which foster kid she had, they all called her grandma. She made sure we went to church every Sunday morning, every Sunday night, every Wednesday night, all the youth groups. We were in mission trips. We had to go to school, and everybody in the community was making sure that Mrs. Ross's foster kids were doing the right thing. So we had this accountability and this community of support in all kinds of ways. And so that greatly affected who I became as an adult. And when this opportunity came available, and I really looked at, like, on a different level, what Safe Families does, I just knew that this was the path for me moving forward.
So for those that don't know what Safe Families is, explain a little bit more.
So what we do is we are kind of an alternative to foster care, because a lot of times when children enter foster care, it is a hard cycle to get out of. And it's difficult for families to get to where they need to be. And they have this loss of identity. They feel like they don't have, the connection to their kids anymore. They're technically feel like the kids aren't theirs.
Right.
And with Safe Families, what we do is we lean on our community, because we do want to create that village. We want to have that opportunities for people to connect. The number one reason why families come to us is because they feel socially isolated. and they feel like they don't have anybody they can turn to. Maybe
There's a lot of judgment that goes on in those
yes,
situations.
Yes. And maybe their family lives in another state, or maybe they're
Mm-hmm.
not on good relationships with their families, or maybe they just don't have anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so they come to us for the social isolation. And there can be other things going on, some kind of crisis, but that really is the core of what we're seeing. And so we try to connect them with people in the community that can be a family friend, a
Mm-hmm.
family coach, someone to cheer them on as they're trying to get to, whatever next step they need to get out of the crisis they're in. And if worse comes to worse and they need a break, or they don't have a place to keep their children at the moment, we have host families who will provide a dinner table for those children to sit at night, and provide beds for those kids to sleep in, and maybe transportation to school in the morning, all the while that the families still have complete say over what their children do and what they are exposed to and who they're with our fully vetted, background checked volunteers. And
Incredible people that
yeah,
they are.
we have an amazing community of volunteers. We're all up and down the Treasure. It's a national agency, but
Okay.
here for our Safe Families, we're in the Treasure Coast.
Okay.
But we have a huge support network here in Indian River County. And these are volunteers who've been doing this for years and will gladly take another child into their home, even if it's just for a night or during the day, while the parent maybe needs to go to an extra class after their work shift. And they just need that little bit of help so that they don't end up in another crisis.
That is so awesome to hear. I immediately think, though, how would someone choose that as a volunteer opportunity instead of being a foster parent? Or are they foster parents who just need a little bit more of a break but don't really want to give up that meaningful connection to children in need?
That's a great question. We have a lot of people that come to us as volunteers because they're thinking about foster care.
Ah, okay.
And with that, they can kind of dip their toe into what that's like and have that opportunity to see, is this something for me? Do I really want to do this? Or do I really, really want to do this? And we do the same background checks as what they do with the level 2 screening with the foster care system. And in addition to that, they get that peer support. So they can connect with other volunteers to talk about their experiences. To
orientation, I'll bet, up front.
Yes, training. We do a lot of training. And then they have the support of our staff to really help them, guide them. We have the liability on our side. So we really try to connect families with volunteers where we think it would be a good match. We do meet and greets.
As opposed to foster care, which sometimes is,
you just take
we're
the
in
child.
a jam, would you take this child?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Okay.
That's exactly right. So it really gives people the opportunity to see what it's like. And volunteering can look like anything for anybody. It can be an hour a week, just being a family friend and meeting a mom for coffee and just chatting to reduce that isolation.
Well, and the stress of feeling like, how'd I get in this place as a parent? And will I ever get out of this?
Yes.
Because today this happened, yesterday that happened.
And it feels like a cycle that you just can't get off of.
And you can't talk to other people that are in the same situation because they're struggling too.
That's right.
But a volunteer that's a good listener can really help reassure and guide and be a friend.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so wonderful.
And our end goal is that they're not in safe families forever. They're with us for a very short term, and while they're with us, we're connecting them to community agencies such as TCCH or other resources that they can get to help propel them along their journey, because we're trying to create protective factors for them so they can be sufficient. They can build skills to better their lives for themselves and for their children. And having the community partner collaboration makes such a huge difference. I like to say it is not a competition. There is enough need to go around.
Me too.
And we just want to make sure that if we really, like my experience as a child, if we can really, truly surround a family with an actual community of support, then, well, they're going to be held accountable. People are going to be checking in. How are you doing? How's this going? But also really giving that sense of we're a village, we're doing this together.
And, I often hear Vero Beach is a small town grown up, and having lived in a very small town in northern Michigan for some 5 years before I came here, I understand that connectedness, that accountability that comes with it. When I moved up there, it was out of a suburb of Detroit, and they said, after I'd been there 2 weeks, two of the gals that were in the similar hallway where I worked in the hospital said, "Do you not like us?" I was like, "Yes, I love being here." No, that's not what we're asking. Do you like us? Yes, we go to lunch, we go on walks, we do all this stuff together. Why would you ask that? And they said, because when you leave your office, you lock the door. I was like, don't have to do that here? But that was that accountability to, if you want to engage in our village, you're breaking the social norm.
That's right.
Okay? And so, particularly for parents, there are those social norms that you're really struggling to figure out. Parenting is hard work.
It really is.
And just when you think you've got it figured out, the kid gets a little bit older and goes into a different cycle of life or growth, and you're floundering again, or so you feel. So I believe that this little town grown up might not be as forward or as small as it was for us up north, but that connectedness really, really is awesome. And so if people wanted to talk more with you about that,
yes.
Where's your office and how do they connect with you?
Great question. We are actually located in United Against Poverty.
Okay.
We have an office there. Now, I will tell you that our staff is out working with families and volunteers and other community members quite often.
So it's a small office.
It's a very small office. But we are glad to meet people wherever they are. We can come and talk to an individual about volunteering, or if they know a family that they would like to refer, they can give us a call. We have a website. We have a QR code. I mean, we want to find as many ways as possible to connect people. So
what's your website?
It is treasurecoast.safe-families.org. I wanted to check it to make sure I got it right. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, thank you, Jessie. You're an awesome producer. We are on Facebook, so if you didn't get a chance to check that, you can either go to Facebook or YouTube. All of our conversations are there for future reference. But we are going to take a short break for a word from our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll talk more about the parent side of it, okay?
Thank you.
Great. Treasure.
At Sunshine Furniture, our 35,000 square foot showroom is filled with the largest selection of in-stock coastal furniture on the Treasure Coast. Dining and bedroom sets, occasional tables, sofas, sleeper sofas, love seats, and chairs in the latest styles and colors from Tommy Bahama, Lexington, Hooker, Four Seasons, Braxton, Color, and Capri. We're the outdoor furniture experts and have hundreds of styles of any patio furniture you need, including a gallery of American-made Telescope, Berlin Gardens, Lloyd Flanders, and Pollywood, all with no tariff ever. And we also specialize in fire pits, outdoor rugs, umbrellas, and replacement cushions. Right now, we're having a huge floor sample sale with lots of great markdowns on everything you need for your Florida home, including all pictures, lamps, and accessories half price. Sunshine Furniture, $12.95 US 1 in the Publix Plaza, Vero Beach. Don't forget to visit our outlet store directly across the street, filled with lots of name brand closeouts and sale items. And visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com.
At Evergreen Media, we know the people, the businesses, and the work needed to take your marketing to the next level. We know where locals go to shop, work, and have fun.
We're here to focus on your local advertising so you can focus on your business. This is our home. This is our business. Evergreen Media. We market, you grow.
And welcome back to Community Conversations. It's always interesting coming back from the word from our sponsors. Sometimes I anticipate too much and I'm already saying, hello again. So if you're still on the radio dial, this has not been our smoothest production, although Jesse, our producer, is trying his darndest to keep us on track. I have Jessica Staudt here today from Safe Families. Jessica was previously with Healthy Start, so very well experienced. And so I have a couple of questions for you. We talked a little bit at the beginning about volunteers. I'd like to switch now and look at the other half of the equation because, again, our community is very diverse. It's not at all like the small town I referred to up in northern Michigan. We have a lot of diversity here, a lot of income diversity, a lot of racial diversity. So what are you seeing that diversity come to Safe Families?
Absolutely. That is a great point. When I think about the type of people that need support, I will give a very good example. We had a training recently where we trained a bunch of family coaches, and it was an in-person training, but people could join virtually if they wanted to. And we had people call out, like, who do you think are the types of people we support? And they said, things like financial hardships, homelessness, losing their house, losing their job, substance use. Like there was a whole list of things that went on there, some type of disability, grandparents, health-related issues. And then the trainer had our intake specialist come up and she said, Anna, can you circle all the ones that you've seen in your time with Safe Families?
Oh, what a great idea.
And she circled the entire chart. Because there wasn't one thing on there that the trainees had shouted out that wasn't something that we have seen. I will give an example of something we've worked with recently. We had a mom that needed a kidney transplant. And she had known for quite some time that she would need a kidney transplant.
However, you just tend to push that out of your mind as a someday. And let me guess, she didn't have a backup plan for her children
She
yet.
did not. She did not. And the situation being what it was, she didn't have anybody to watch the children.
Oh.
And so we spent about a year with her getting to know various volunteers in the community, spending time together, day trips, just things so that when she got that very long 8-week recovery time in another state, because when you get the call, you have to take it wherever it is. That child was able to go to all these volunteers that they knew very well.
As family friends.
And it eased that transition so much. And they was able to call and talk to his mom after her surgery. And they had FaceTimes all the time. And be able to keep him in school and really have that
wrap-around arm of comfort.
Yes. And our goal is now, the surgery is done, that hosting is complete. And those families all have natural relationships.
I'm ready to cry. I mean, that is so touching, but so Vero-like.
Yeah. And Safe Families just steps back. Like we're no longer involved because we've helped create that community. We've completed the circle, the loop.
Right. You facilitated that growth between individuals.
Yeah.
Wow. So since you brought up drug addiction as one of those, there's a lot of safety concerns about the behavior of people that are doing drugs.
Absolutely.
So can you talk a little bit more about how you ease the mind of your volunteers related to that?
Well, what we do is if we have someone who comes to us and they have substance use, but they're coming to us for help, they want to get their children situated. They want to build the capacity so that this isn't their life.
Right.
We want to support that.
So often they're in treatment is what
they're already in treatment.
Okay.
They're already in treatment. And so what we're doing is we're then providing that family coach to work with the treatment facility and everybody that's in that care cycle for that, that whoever is getting the treatment. And we want to have it that accountability is there, but we're relying on the experts to do what they do. And then we work with our volunteers. We want to make sure that we are very transparent with every host family, with every family friend about the situation with the family. And we make sure that they are agreeing as well. And if there's ever any doubt or any way it doesn't work, then that ends. but we've only had good experiences because if somebody's already seeking help,
Exactly.
they're already on the right path.
Right.
And we're just giving them that boost to get to that next level. But to be honest, Vicki, we don't see a lot of that. We get such a diverse type of different people that come to us with so many different situations that we usually we know our volunteers pretty well. We do a lot of meetings with the volunteers prior to any assignments. We get to know them. We get to know the people that we take in for the families, and we try to pair them up like with what they can handle. We don't take anything that would, if a child is a threat to themselves or others, that would not be an appropriate host. If the family has any history of like violence or anything like that, we can't work with those.
Okay.
If we have like a medically needy child that is beyond the scope of our volunteers, we won't be able to take them. We want to make sure that our volunteers are successful in order to help the families be successful. And we do defer and refer at every case that we can get a chance to do that with.
And we get your behavioral health referrals.
Yes.
Because again, some talk therapy from a professional sometimes smooths the misunderstandings that happen between well-meaning people on both sides.
That's right.
So I know that you do those referrals. And being in the Unite Against Poverty home, I call it.
Yeah, the hub.
The hub. Again, so many resources right there, including supportive services, whether it's crisis or job training or just, again, interweaving and recreating a stable social life.
Absolutely.
Is great location for y'all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Intentional.
Didn't happen by accident, did it? So tell me again, what kind of impact have you personally seen here in the last couple of months?
So I'm really working on collaboration with other agencies. But if I think about my own experiences with some of the families that we worked with, I have a personal friend who, long before I was a part of Safe Families, I knew about Safe Families because of my work with Healthy Start. And I had a friend that went through a really hard time due to a crisis that their family experienced, a really bad car accident. And you know how it is. All it takes is one bad thing to happen to a family, and that can send them into crisis. This was a family, that was doing well, it seemed to have everything, and that accident really put them into a crisis. And we have been able to connect them. As a friend, I was able to connect her with Safe Families, and they have been utilizing our services for about a year and a half while they go through this huge, very long issue related to the accident.
Well, yeah, the trauma, the expense, the disruption, all the doctors'
surgeries.
Visits. Yeah.
And having those families throughout the community that they can rely on to give that support has kept them from being desolate.
That's awesome.
Emotionally and financially. And I mean, I can't name any names of people who are working out there.
You to.
But I want everybody listening to know that we so deeply appreciate the volunteers that come forward, that allow time in their lives, either for a family friend, for that coffee or meet up or walk around the mall, whatever that looks like, or the coaches that are really doing that cheerleading and really like holding that accountability, but pushing them forward and building those skills for the families. And
That's
those
huge.
host families.
Yeah.
Those host families make such a difference by allowing these children to come in and be part of their lives long after Safe Families have stepped out. So know that the volunteers are greatly appreciated.
So I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about the finances. Not everybody can be a host family or a support coach. There may be listeners that think, I'd really like to help them continue this work. Would they, again, go to your website? Do you have a donate page?
We do have a donate page on that same site, treasurecoast.safe-families.org. Okay. But I will steal a line from your book. You said something at your ribbon cutting last week, time, talent, or treasure. And that
really helps, doesn't it?
It really helps. So we love donations of any kind we can get, and that might be financial. We are very appreciative of donations, but there's a lot of talent out there, and we are a very small staff, and we cover the entire Treasure Coast. So anything people think that they can bring to it, we are all ears.
That's wonderful. And thank you so much for your time and talent. We'll have you back.
Thank you.
I hope that this has been valuable information for all of you that are out on the other end of the radio dial. And tune in next week. Take care now.